presence in your sleep while you can tell that you are dreaming. I will hold that hand forever. Our bond will not be severed. I want to see you smile. We have only one desire, pushing ourselves higher and higher to find a way to overcome our worst nights. No mistake in our minds, in our hands, open our sight, so we all can laugh right from the depths of our hearts. Only just a single time, a tiny moment passing by. Surely it's not too much I'm praying for. More than
Wow.
anything, I
Okay.
just want to believe and overcome your vision that narrowed around us. On my dirty hands and never breaks, and if we get out, I think the moment goes so far, so we gotta learn to live free, we'll live our life without barricades.
Bet.
An enemy has been slain.
It's 5 a.m. but you're suffocating. You're biting your nails and the dark is fading. You're next to the exit, but if you should run away, there's nowhere to go, 'cause the day has come. Each and every night, never ending. When the truth ball is gonna sharpen your claws on the exit, but if they should run away, there's nowhere to go, 'cause the day has come.
Bet.
Countless are the wounds on my body, even if they're treated so softly. I will not let down my guard. I won't allow myself to let my soul be taken. On the other side of the mountain, if I could have met you somehow, then I wouldn't know just where to start. When I tell you the things I've seen along the way, I ran so fast. I came to you so quickly. I felt the beating of my heart inside my chest. It was so loud, I thought it just might burst. I heard at last your voice echoing out to me. There is not time to stand around. I'll pick my feet up off the ground and sing ready, steady, go. Ready, steady, can't hold me back. Ready, steady, give me good luck. Ready, steady, never look back. Let's get started, ready, steady, go. I feel my heart running fast under the open blue sky. I cannot stop these autumn feelings that I've always been concealing now from crying out. Though we're apart, life apart, I'll reach you, so just hold tight. I feel the sun, my sights are burn across the path along my journey. Now ready, steady, go. Oh, please trust me.
An ally has been slain.
Every day I get closer to where I wanna be. All I've gotta do is keep running ahead. The future's calling out to me. Say what you want about us. Aspiring heroes gonna share a dream, but I know we have always got endless possibilities within our reach. Doesn't matter how you feel today. Tomorrow is a chance to go make a change. I don't ever wanna hesitate anymore for all the strength that I will gain. Doesn't matter if your body's shining bright. The darkness in our hearts will never disappear. We balance them both and then we all pick a side. But I know that we were born to be enemies. If I don't recognize what I'm feeling, then I'll let it become what will make me stronger. Now's the time, take on another walk. Listen to your heart and go. No longer will we be caught up within the past. We're standing together, we're fighting for our dreams. The courage everybody shares will guide us forward to where we want to be. Let's go beyond the same past, the peak still aiming higher. We are looking straight ahead, 'cause I know that we'll become the hope of the future. I don't know where we're headed from here, but this road that we're on is the one we've made. There's nothing that I'm hiding from you, even now I believe we are one and the same. I can't stop 'cause I just gotta go for it. Let's kick it up and do it for a try, 'cause I'm not going to
Bet.
miss another chance.
Foot fetish porn
DVDs, as well as purchasing subscriptions to multiple different porn websites. The rest of the money was distributed into lavish fast food meals and strip clubs, with the measly sum of $100 left over being put into a savings account because EDP is just that shrewd. The fact EDP was an adult film addict was no secret. After all, the man made videos called Top 200 Porn Stars All Time. And that wasn't even clickbait. He actually made a list that contained his top 200 stars of all time and seemed to have an easy time naming all of them off the top of his head. For a guy as obsessed as he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, at the end of the day, his real priority was his pecker, however capable he was of stroking it or even seeing it. While the topic was treated as a joke by both EDP and everyone in his comment section, his addiction was noticeably festering and getting worse as time went on, though no one knew what would be the final consequence of this. One example of his inability to stop himself from chasing the high he got from masturbating causing a major setback in his life was when, after using a sex hotline, but finding the service was not up to his standards, because he's essentially the Gordon Ramsay of whack-off material, he actually refused to pay. This wasn't taken well by the company that ran the hotline, who sued him. Ultimately, he was ordered by the court to pay thousands of dollars in damages for this, which is ironic considering he only had to pay $20 for his call. Not only is the man an absolute coomer possessed by lust, he's Mr. Krabs tier petty when it comes to paying what he owes. Imagine being the person in charge of overseeing this case and making a ruling on it. The ultimate consequence of this was that EDP swore to never call another hotline again in a video to his channel, though he mostly skated around the topic in order to not have to admit he tried to scam a phone sex company. Given that Bryant was officially unemployed and didn't show much of an inclination to help financially with the money he got from his EDP work, his parents pushed him to get a real job and help out. Because of this, in August of 2014, he somehow managed to land a job as a security guard in a company called SitRep Security Solutions, where he claims to have fought teenagers off and protected food and people from burglars. But fighting teenagers is leagues better than what he would eventually start planning to do to them. Besides that, I have no idea how he got this job, considering he had no past experience as a security guard, and for crying out loud, the guy was famous under the name of Eat Dat Pussy 445. Do these people do no research on him at all? Additionally, if someone were to steal anything, the last thing he'd be able to do is chase them. Sure, he's giant in his own right, but not the intimidating kind. But I guess that's good enough for the local retail stores who were pleased to have him posted up protecting their merchandise. Despite his very well-received appearances in media, his YouTube was still languishing in relative obscurity at this time, with less than 15,000 subscribers in March 2014. To make matters worse, right in the beginning of 2015, on January 31st, Latonia, EDP's mom, passed away at 58 years old. This was certainly hard on Bryant, but within just a month of losing her, he continued to make his videos like nothing had ever happened, at this point to a total of 20,000 subscribers. However, this lull in his online career didn't last long, as just a little while later, he once again hit his stride, dropping classic videos like I flooded the toilet at Chipotle, where he's seen hurriedly escaping the crime scene he left behind in the restroom. I don't mean that figuratively either. He literally used an excessive amount of toilet paper to the point that when he flushed the toilet, everything overflowed, which I think in some respects constitutes destruction of property or vandalism. Plus, fleeing the scene, considering the video has him confessing to the crime.
And we gotta get the fuck out of here, dude. I just overflooded the toilet.
Okay, I admit it's not that big of a deal. He just clogged the toilet, and even if it were a crime, it certainly wouldn't even be close to the worst he was caught participating in. Anyhow, the video garnered over 2.5 million views, but despite this being an impressive number, it did not convert very well into subscribers. At this point, EDP moved on from being the Eagles guy to being somewhat of a meme, even if not that popular quite yet. In a very unpredictable fashion, EDP's second wind as an online entertainer came from his work as a security officer. You see, the company he worked for had him working security in a bunch of different places, one of which happened to be the flagship store for Golf Lane, which, if you didn't know, is the merch store of musician Tyler the Creator. During his stint working there, he managed to catch the attention of none other than Tyler himself. It's unknown if he was recognized as EDP 445 and it helped move things along, or if he charmed the Golf Wang staff from scratch with his illustrious personality. But the end result, Tyler had taken a liking to him. There are pictures of EDP and Tyler at what looks like an empty pool to prove that, unlike many of the other outlandish stories Bryant liked telling in his channel, this one was actually true. Most likely the pool pictures were taken while EDP and Tyler shot a segment for Golf Media called in his current state of affairs. On Tyler's Twitter, there is a mention of another show called All the Way Live with Eat Dat Pussy 445, but it's unknown if this is indeed another show or an alternate title for In the Field. According to some people who attended Tyler the Creator's Camp Flognaw Carnival at the time, EDP was even given free tickets, and I can only hope he only went there to listen to some music. Side note, this is around the time Tyler dropped a single called fucking young about reluctantly dating an underage girl. Just think that's worth mentioning. By June, his subscribers had almost doubled as he kept making the same type of content as always. 2015 also held a few other breakthroughs into conventional media outlets. EDP made a video called Eagles Trade McCoy, WTF, which was featured on the MTV show Ridiculousness, and later on in the same year, he was on Fox's Cowherd for his video cursing out and screaming at the Eagles coach, Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly! What's up, buddy? Get the out of here!
The recording of this that was put up on YouTube has got over 1 million views. While the people on the show seemed to be put off from EDP's rage and obscenity, it was hilarious to see his insanity being broadcast on national television. 2016 was a pleasantly uneventful year for EDP, as he wasn't involved in any controversy, and for the first time ever, he was working out and actually on track to losing weight. People who genuinely followed him and his content recall this as the best era, and his subscriber count reflected this, as by November, he had already surpassed 100,000 subscribers. Shortly after this, EDP once again made rounds on Twitter with a video he posted with the title, "My left leg has went totally numb, man down."
Good evening, Twitter. This is your boy, EDP445, and about like 30 to 45 minutes ago, I beat the fuck out of my skin so goddamn hard that I can't even feel my leg. Has went totally numb.
If he hadn't
Fuck
already
Heimer,
tweeted
bro.
at this point, this post validated
fuck.
his meme status. On top of dropping his weight down by several pounds, he also finally learned how to drive in his mid-20s, which he desperately needed to do.
Yeah, we
since
win
his
this
mother
shit, I don't
could no
know.
longer be his unpaid chauffeur. That drove him to fast food places 5 times a week so that he could systematically destroy their pipes with the insurgent attacks known as his bowel movements. Getting his driver's license was no mean feat. It actually took EDP a total of 4 driving tests to get it. But given how much he hated having to take the bus everywhere, he wouldn't give up. Not only did he learn how to drive, but he also bought his first car, a 2014 Hyundai Elantra. Before this, whenever he wasn't talking, he was either taking public transportation or driving a car that belonged to a man named Philip. A friend of his and fan of the show that was charitable with EDP to the point that he continued to allow him to drive his car, even after EDP crashed it into a light post. It was very rare for EDP at this point to break character, basically because to an extent, his character was himself. But during this era of his channel, on account of his self-improvement inclinations and his weight loss journey, he became more transparent, not just with the funny and entertaining parts of his life, but the more serious and dark parts as well. On the 18th of May of 2017, he uploaded a video called Battling Personal Demons. Within this video lies one of the very few instances where Bryant opens up about an extremely sensitive topic to him, his mother's passing. He reveals that his mother had always been overweight and in and out of rehab, which put her at an extreme risk of dying when she had to get surgeries. While recovering from one of them at the hospital, she began struggling to breathe and passed soon after. Her doctor immediately called Bryant and informed him of it, but he didn't process the information until the day after, when he noticed his mom wasn't in her room. This led to him immediately developing thoughts of ending his own life, as she was so central to his own that he couldn't see how he could possibly continue living without her. A whole 3 years later, in 2017, he continued to struggle with these thoughts, along with intense self-doubt about his weight loss. Of course, the fact he was losing weight so slowly is because, while he did go to the gym, he was still eating in an extremely unhealthy way, which was counterproductive. Regardless, this change in pace as far as the content was well received, despite being very different from the rest of his channel. He now had a genuine following of roughly 150,000 subs who were cheering him on to continue losing weight and improving himself. If only he had continued in this track. As of October 2017, he had already passed 200,000 subscribers and continued to grow. He also created a secondary backup channel called Taste This 2-inch Diff 445 Julio, due to growing concerns that his main channel might get shut down because of certain videos of his being flagged, and all of his content was actually temporarily removed from YouTube. During this time, the videos were probably being flagged since a lot of them contained insanely obscene content in terms of the stories he told. However, thankfully, after a couple of weeks, his channel was reinstated, and EDP continued as always. Bryant started 2018 with a really rocky beginning. Super Mario Logan, a channel with almost 5 million subscribers on YouTube that mainly did really successful comedy sketch videos with puppets, reached out to EDP to try and hire him to work for the channel. The deal they negotiated was that EDP would be part of the channel's crew as a permanent member as opposed to just a cameo, and paid $5,000 a month, with the additional promise of paying for Bryant to attend the Super Bowl. For a guy with as few job opportunities and talents as he had, and as obsessed with football as he was, this is about as sweet as the pot could get. This deal became even more important for Bryant as, in August of that year, he made a GoFundMe campaign due to financial hardships he was facing at the time. The description reads, "Hey everyone, talk about getting screwed from both ends, huh? So basically YouTube has been screwing me for the past 5 to 6 months, and at first I didn't mind it. I've never been in it for the money, never mind that. And the money I got solely from YouTube, that's what I used to get the Dreamcast, jerseys, and all that stuff. I just got up and got a second job. Well, unfortunately, my second company has bought out my first company for $1.7 billion. Give my ass some of that shit. And with them finding out that I work for 2 security companies, not only did I get let go from my second job, it's only a matter of time before I let go from my first job as well. You don't have to donate, but it's more than appreciated if you do. While he did get the $2,500 he was asking for, it seems he did get let go of his job in November of 2018 after 4 years and 4 months of working security. Because of this threat of financial insecurity looming over him, the SML job
Why are we fighting
a necessity than an opportunity. Unfortunately for him, this job never materialized for reasons not exactly clear. Later on during that year, EDP dropped a 12-minute video titled Super Mario Logan F***ed Me Over, where he went into detail about how their deal disintegrated. Basically, Logan did pay for EDP and his friend, Philip, to fly out and go to the Super Bowl, but despite being extremely grateful for that, he resented the fact that despite SML knowing about EDP's financial situation and offering the job on the channel to help him out, he seemed comfortable to just let time pass without making good on his promise. Obviously, it's not like EDP was in any place to make demands, but SML promised the position and then slowly became unresponsive to EDP's attempts at communication, which would frustrate anyone. Bryant became particularly irritated from seeing pictures of Logan, the channel owner, driving Lamborghinis, while online estimates of his monthly income were in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, which meant that there was no way he couldn't afford to hire EDP, deliberately choosing to jerk him around for months for no reason. Later on, Super Mario Logan would get heaps of negative attention for unrelated reasons, but this EDP video stood out as one of the earliest instances of someone having a problem with him. In the same month as his conflict with SML was aired out, his channel got taken down.
Good job, Katarina.
Leading him to make another account called EDP445 2.0. But his main channel was restored, which staved off Brian with last source of income. Now that he was once more unemployed, Brian dedicated all of his time and effort into his work as EDP, and honestly, it was to some avail. His subscriber count went from struggling to reach 300,000 to being almost 800 by November, and without any controversy to artificially make it happen. He was just consistently posting videos, and as a result, consistently gaining fans. Top hits from this year include Eating Squirrel Isn't Heart, Warm Sperm for the GM's Throat, A Sports Bra for My Big Ass Titties, My Dick Through Half an Inch, and the cherry on top, I Just Shit on Myself. One new addition to EDP's arsenal was engaging with his audience in more direct ways, such as receiving fan mail. Given the kind of humor he was associated with, you can imagine the kind of things he got in the mail. He also occasionally autographed a few items for fans, in a very similar fashion. It's in August of 2019 that he begins doing cameos, as in short little videos for whoever is willing to pay. His description of this gig reads, gained over thousands of dollars from my fans for roasting their brother, sister, uncle, friend, animals, and etc. This opportunity has helped me gain a rich lifestyle to support my heavy eating habits and purchasing firearms. Well, if nothing else, you could say that he was honest. It seems that he successfully bounced back from his financial problems, but learned very little about being shrewd with his spending in the process. Not only did he start gaining weight again from eating thousands of dollars worth of fast food, he eventually went on to buy a total of $99,000 worth of firearms. Just why? This began before he had any reasonable assumption that someone would want to hurt him in real life if they saw him, so he had no reason to worry about self-defense to this degree, especially not to the tune of $90,000.
People just buy guns because they like guns. What the fuck?
Which, I mean, I get it. That is an insane amount to spend for a guy who was having a hard time
it is, but
paying
he's
bills
not
just
very
a year
smart.
before. Evidently, he was expecting his YouTube career to last forever. Little did he know what was coming his way. Early on in the year of 2020, EDP445's YouTube channel made it to 1 million subscribers, a journey that had taken an entire decade. However, YouTube surprisingly denied him from his golden play button plaque because his channel didn't meet the criteria necessary to be eligible to receive it. On one hand, his name is EDP445 and he's done numerous reaction videos to actual porn, but on the other hand, these things didn't stop him from getting none but 2 silver play buttons for his main and backup channels. So what gives? EDP addressed this publicly, saying that his channel had no copyright or community guideline strikes, and YouTube had no justification for doing this. And at the time, the majority of people backed him up, including other YouTubers like Mudahar from Subordinary Gamers and Scares. The support was so widespread that the community made a change.org petition to help EDP get his gold play button. Alas, it seems YouTube didn't care about his plight and never sent him his button. However, he was sent a fan-made play button for 1 million, which he unboxed on his channel. His videos went from getting tens of thousands of views to hundreds of thousands, often cracking 1 million views on content he made with little to no effort at all. It's actually surprising that he managed to be this big on the platform, uploading stuff with vile titles and topics like Nutted
Lux,
jacking off his definite ports, and I jacked off 25,615 times. comments. As a matter of fact, these videos were usually the ones that got the most views, meaning it wasn't being punished by the algorithm. Despite the golden play button debacle, things look to be on the up and up for EDP. That is, until the month of July. Rumors began circulating about the kind of interactions Bryant had been having with people online, specifically regarding the messages he was sending to minors. In one instance, he asked a girl in his chat for explicit images without asking for her age. In another, he told a 16-year-old girl he wanted to be her next boyfriend and asked her to help him beat off. After announcing his run for president in 2020, he addressed the accusations, playing them off as bad jokes and nothing more, which at least some of his fans believed at the time. Nobody wanted to accept that their favorite YouTuber with whom they have a parasocial relationship just might be a sex pest. I mean, this dude was a part of so many people's childhoods. I remember watching his story times in high school with my buddies and getting a real kick out of them. The idea he could be a horrible human being was something many didn't want to accept. However, given EDP's propensity to openly talk about all the kinds of freak porn he consumed, it set off a few alarms that he wasn't exactly normal in that realm. A few months after his initial heat about his pedo rumors, fellow YouTuber Cold Raven posted a video where evidence was shown that EDP was displaying sexual behavior towards multiple minors over DMs, and if that was insufficient evidence, he went on to successfully catfish EDP as a minor himself. Honestly, not enough people remember that this guy exposed EDP pretty much before anyone else, and maybe without him it would have taken a much longer time before anyone tried to publicize this. In response to this, EDP released a video responding to Cold Raven where he aggressively ate food and proceeded to pull out a handgun, which, though not explicitly a death threat, is certainly a very stupid move to make in general. In a live stream of his from around that time, he addressed the situation, saying, "A group of no-life ass, no pussy-getting motherfuckers decided to make a bunch of fake accounts pretending to be girls. And like a dumbass, I fell for it. And now everyone's on this pedo kick." It seems to fall on deaf ears that though the accounts were fake, it doesn't mean that they weren't minors, meaning he was trying to have sex with underage girls. He kept falling for it repeatedly, even after he was caught multiple times. The man literally could not keep it in his pants, and by the end of the year, there was evidence for a total of 8 different people he thought were minors he'd been caught texting. In one of his less insane and belligerent responses to Cold Raven and the accusations, EDP said, "I don't care about the law. If she's 15 to 17, it's okay, as long as she's wearing skimpy clothing." And yes, he actually said that. I'll play the clip right here.
Jesus Christ, dude.
You have virtually a grown-ass
What the fuck?
woman. I don't give a how old they may be. When you sit back
Fucking
and you have
EDP,
a
bro.
motherfucking woman who's fully functioning, who can sit back, pick up a phone, text a motherfucker, that can sit back, shower themselves, put on these skimpy ass motherfucking outfits and shit, seek fucking attention and shit.
He must actually be deranged to have admitted this on video. Scratch that, he's certainly deranged for believing that in the first place. No guy around 30 years old has any business whatsoever trying to get with 15 to 17-year-old girls, unless he's looking forward to suicide by her older brother or father. And that's if he's lucky enough to not go to jail for it, because if he does, he won't fare well in a penitentiary with a crime like that to his name. He keeps acting like this is some hater attempting to sully his name, when that should be the least of his worries and a pretty mild punishment for what he did do. EDP started taking notice of the absolute disaster to his PR, and so he tried to divert attention from it by claiming that he had a girlfriend and was keeping her a secret from his fans. This pivot was not successful, however, as it did nothing to disprove the claims that he himself had indirectly confirmed. His channel had grown to over 2 million subscribers at this point, but it looks like the rumors and allegations had caused the count to considerably slow down. In November, his channel took an odd turn into posting multiple videos about his support of Trump, though I would wager that EDP's support isn't exactly helpful to someone's political campaign. It wasn't until the next year that the allegations would resurface, this time to a much more inflamed response. In February, he posted a rather prophetic video called "The Calm Before the Storm." In the same month, he also posted a video called "Weird Pain Inside My Urethra," which could also be considered prophetic depending on how you look at it. In any event, on the 18th of April, the people who ran the channel Predator Poachers ran a to-catch-a-predator-style sting operation on EDP. While Bryant had previously said that he was with getting girls 15 and above, in practice, he was okay with going after girls even younger than that, since the catchers posed as a 13-year-old, and still managed to successfully bait him into sending them explicit images, along with a plethora of other incredibly disgusting stuff, which I won't get into detail about for myriad reasons. The chat logs were eventually revealed in memes of death, usually attached to this candid picture of Mr. 445, which he thought he genuinely looked very cute in. What goes on inside that man's mind is honestly unknowable. The girl who tricked EDP did a 2-hour-long reading of the chat logs if you're interested. It's simultaneously hilarious, nasty, and terrifying. On April 20th, the Caught in 4K video went up since it has now been taken down. The internet instantly erupted in a mixture of catharsis from seeing a pedo get caught, shock that said pedo was EDP, and last but not least, disbelief. Not that he was legitimately caught, but of the things that he said in his defense. When being confronted about going to meet up with a 13-year-old for sex, he claimed he'd got there to get cupcakes, which became a massive meme. He also claimed that he was auditioning for a role in a movie. These excuses made no sense, as in some moments, when asked directly if he's a pedophile, he says correct, which is so blunt and to the point, it seems like he doesn't even understand the question. Right before the video became public, EDP announced that he would be deleting all of the videos on his channel, and a few days later, he made them private. This case got massive coverage from the usual suspects, which brought even more attention to it, and within a week of the sting, EDP's main and backup channel were both taken down by YouTube themselves. In the beginning of May, EDP uploaded a video to his Facebook, which was still up. In it, he focused exclusively on attacking the people who caught him, the same exact way he attacked Cold Raven, and announcing he would be making a comeback on his own website, without ever addressing the fact that he was caught. The website did eventually come out after taking its sweet time since EDP is incompetent on top of being a pedophile. In the videos that he's uploaded to said website, it's evident he wants to keep up his usual shtick and acts like nothing happened. At the same time, he has a very hard time keeping his mouth shut about the incident and seems unable